Welcome to Canines for America. My name is Ryan and this is Siren, and today we're going to talk about how to find the right canine for you. Let's get started. The first things we want to start to consider in finding the right canine that's appropriate for us, or how do we develop that relationship with us, is we really need to focus on creating that bond with our canine. We need to create a conditional reflex of trust and attachment with our canine. And we do that in a couple different ways. We have to do that with unconditioned stimuli, and we have to do that with conditioned stimuli. So some of the techniques that you can use in the very beginning in developing that bond, that trust, that acceptance with your canine is you need to think about it. There's the canine's world that they live in, and then there's the human world that we live in. We're two totally different species. We're two totally different organisms. But what we have to do is we need to take our world and their world, we need to kind of form them over each other till we create this little sliver. And that's where we need to be able to coexist with each other. Now, they have laws that govern them. We have laws that govern us. So a couple techniques to really start that relationship building with your dog would be the use of food. By feeding your dog. By just feeding your dog, you are going to naturally create that attachment bond between you and your canine. By grooming your dog, by bathing your dog, by clipping their nails, combing your dog. That's another great way of creating that attachment and that bond with your canine. Creating a formal training environment, whether you're going to be a police dog trainer, whether you're going to be a sport dog trainer, and again, whether you're just a companion, it's going to be a companion dog for you. All of these techniques need to be used in the initial introduction between you and your canine to start to be able to create that environment where you're going to be able to be successful in, and your dog is going to start to do the things that you ask them to do for you. Without having that bond, without having that attachment and trust, you're pretty much setting yourself up for failure. Now, when you go into selecting that dog, I think we've talked about it in other videos, you want to eliminate conflict. If you have conflict between you and the other organism, you're not going to be able to get very far. You're going to get frustrated, the organism is going to get frustrated, and it's just going to be a stalemate. So temperament diagnosis is the very first thing that we have to do. And with you as a trainer, you as a teacher, you as a coach, you as a homeowner, you as a home pet owner, what you have to understand is you need to self-diagnose yourself. You need to understand, who are you? You need to know thyself. So by diagnosing yourself and coming up with your temperament diagnosis, that's step one. Now you know who you are. You know how you work. You will then understand the techniques that are going to need to be applied to the appropriate match. So again, let's take an example. I'm a choleric individual. So I understand, and it's taken me 20 years to finally uncover who I am. Now that I understand I am choleric, I understand if I come into an athlete, a canine athlete, a human athlete, and I understand that they are choleric, immediately there can be conflict. It's very easy to develop that conflict. So if I'm looking for my dog at home, and this is a dog I'm going to live with all the time, and my commitment, I'm not a professional trainer, I'm not a coach, etc. Having a choleric dog is not going to be the best match for me. Because what will happen is, if you're that choleric individual, so your temperament, your heart rate monitor, like we explained before in earlier videos, you're always firing at a 10. Now you have that choleric puppy that's always firing at a 10. Now you're frustrated, you don't understand exactly how you operate, so you're now immediately creating conflict with that other organism. They're a 10, you go to a 12 because you want to yell, your heart rate, your pulse, everything is elevated. Now the dog's heart rate, the dog's pulse, the dog's internal system, central nervous system is heightened. And now you have major unbalance within a situation. That's the number one way to fail. So now that you understand kind of who you are, and say if you're chloric, the best match probably out there is going to be a melancholic canine, a phlegmatic canine, or a Sangui canine. If you're a pet owner, maybe not even the Sangui. That might be a little bit too much dog for you. So you're looking for, hey, at the end of the day, I've created my activity threshold that I want to do with my dog. I just want to be able to go on casual walks. I like to watch movies. I like to cook. I'm more of an indoor hobby enthusiast. So that type of a matchup is going to be your melancholic canine and your phlegmatic canine. I'm more of an athletic. I love to run. I love to hike. I love to do outdoors. I love to be more of an adventurous person because I am a chloric, or I am of Sangui temperament. Then you're going to want to select the Sangui and chloric canines because they're going to be up to speed and they're going to understand you and you're going to understand them. So if I'm chloric, I want a Sangui canine. If I am a Sangui individual, I'm going to want a chloric canine. That way they will balance you and you will balance them and you will avoid conflict. All right, so let's talk about dog selection if you're the stay-at-home mom, stay-at-home dad, or just a basic family of 4 that you have young children, and you're just looking for just a nice, good companion dog. Your temperaments that you're going to be looking for in a dog that you want to select to bring into that home is going to be more on the melancholic side and the phlegmatic side. Those two dogs, those two temperaments are going to fit very well with you if you're chloric, you if you're Sangui, you if you're phlegmatic, and if you're melancholic as well. That's just going to be a great match. That's going to create perfect balance within the home. It's not going to create any chaos. It's not going to create conflict. And a happy home is going to be a happy dog. Just an overall a happy situation. But now, if we're taking more of an active family, more of an active dog owner, and you're more into, let's say sports. The kids like to run around with the dog. You want to be able to do certain activities such as playing a fetch game, a frisbee game, doing some agility. Well, then you're going to want a dog that's going to have more of a higher active central nervous system. So you're going to want to start looking at a dog that's a Sangui temperament or a chloric temperament, depending on, again, what is the temperament of the family? What's the temperament of mom? What's the temperament of dad? Who will be having to handle this canine? Again, you get into that chloric canine. If you're chloric, they're going to be very, very high energy, very high central nervous system. That dog is going to need tons of exercise, tons of jobs, tasks, things that you're going to need that dog to perform to help bring them down from that 10 to a 7. That dog isn't just going to want to sleep all day. That dog's not going to want to sit on the couch. That dog's just not going to want to kind of, be the old bump on a log, say to speak. You're going to really need to make sure that if you have that type of a canine, that you're going to be out there working every day with that dog. That dog's going to want to go on several walks throughout the day. That dog's going to want to look to be heavily entertained. So unless you have that activity level or that time commitment to bring to a chloric dog, they are tons of work. So you need to know that up front if you're going to select that dog. Just because you go and you see that dog running around on the field or wherever you go to take that dog home, if it's a rescue dog, you really need to take into consideration that dog is never going to come down. I mean, we have Siren here that you see laying down. Siren is just probably losing her mind right now. She's an 11-year-old chloric dog. And at 11 years old, it's very hard for her to just sit here and hold this position and hang out with me. She wants to be running around crazy still at 11. So we have to understand what is the activity that we want the dog to do. What is the activity that you're capable of doing? If you're an older individual, and you might have some health issues. The last thing you want to do is bring home a chloric or even a Sangee canine. You want to, again, bring home that melancholic and that phlegmatic dog. But now if we transition into more of a police dog, you're a police trainer or you're a police department, and you're looking to bring in a bomb dog, for example. The last thing you want to do is be bringing in a chloric dog to search for bombs. That's not going to work well for anybody. That means now you're going to have to try to suppress their natural, innate state of being. Why would we want to do that? As a trainer, as a coach, as a teacher, the last thing I want to do is suppress what they naturally are, what their innate state of being is. What I want to do as a coach, as a trainer, as a developer, I want to be able to identify that and then put them in the best possible position that they were born and meant to do. So if I want a bomb dog, I want a Sangee canine for that job. If I'm going to be a narcotics dog, or if I'm going to do protection work, I want a chloric dog for that. And that way, I'm going to be able to put that chloric canine into the best possible scenario. But if I'm matching up that chloric dog with a police officer out in the field, I want to make sure I select a Sangee officer, a melancholic officer, to work with that chloric canine. If I have that Sangee canine, I want to make sure I match up that Sangee canine with more of a chloric officer. Therefore, we can create that balance, that relationship, and it will help really condition, reflex that bond, that attachment that the dog needs in order to be successful, and also for the owner, the operator of that canine, to be successful. The last thing we want to do is form two different side magnets and get that kind of that relationship where they're not going to stick together, where they're constantly, the forces of nature, that nature versus nurture is reflective. We need it to be accepted. And how do we do that? First, we must temperament diagnose. Okay, a couple takeaways, guys, as we wrap things up here in kind of our one-on-one version of, dog selection, to human and to canine. The biggest things to remember, at the end of the day, what we are trying to achieve is we're trying to achieve balance between the two worlds of human and of canine. You'll hear out there, it has nothing to do with what breed of dog you're looking at. Nothing to do with that. What it comes down to is it comes down to temperament diagnosis, understanding the innate temperament of the canine and the innate temperament of the human, and then how the temperaments reflect off each other in order to create balance. So as soon as you can kind of self-diagnose yourself and understand how you work and understand and be able to self-diagnose the canine, that's going to put you guys in a great position to be successful in any type of development, coaching, training, anything you're going to do going forward between you and your dog. Again, guys, hey, thanks for watching. We appreciate everything. We've been getting great feedback. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to, that siren, our 11-year-old chloric stemming the whole kennel up right now, like we said. Any great questions or comments, go ahead and send them our way. Please don't forget to click like and subscribe.